1989 Formula One World Championship. The sound of all that raw power, though, will be slightly different this year because the turbo era is gone. All the cars will be 3.5 litre normally aspirated. And in one respect at least, things will look different because the Union Jack helmet of Nigel Mansell will now be seen in the famous red car of Ferrari. It's the team that most drivers would love to be part of. So as Murray Walker reports, Nigel's hopes are high, but then again, he's had high hopes before.
I feel this is the big year, big opportunity with a great team to do it.
Nigel was so nearly right, but in 1986 and 87 he made world headlines for other reasons.
आज एडिलेड नाइजल मैंसेल गाड़ी
Nigel Mansell a perdu sa voix
Las esperanzas de Nigel Mansell de lograr el título Nigel Hoffnungen auf den Weltmeistertitel to Nigel Mansell getting a tactics to παγκόσμιο τίτλου.
But all that's in the past now, because Nigel Mansell has made the big move to join Ferrari here at Maranello to drive for the world's most famous Grand Prix team. How does he feel about things so far?
Very, very relaxed. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I am. I still can't get over how enthusiastic the Italian fans are, and the nice thing is the direction of Ferrari. It's all going the right way presently. The new management are pushing very, very hard, and there's no disputing that we have tremendous amounts of work to do in a lot of areas. But I mean, everyone's there to do the one thing, and that's push very hard and to start winning.
The former Lucas engineer from Birmingham has made the ultimate step to the home of motor racing, the Ferrari factory at Maranello in Italy, where the great Enzo Ferrari still looks out from shops and restaurants. No longer does Nigel have to look wistfully at Ferrari's past. He is the future. But his attempts to learn Italian have caused some amusement amongst the motor racing world.
Well, it's fantastic. You know, we have one of these perfect relationships where they don't understand me and I don't understand them. So you can get away with quite a lot.
But the British at Ferrari have a wonderful pedigree. Mike Hawthorne, the first Briton to sign for a major European team, and more importantly, our first world champion.
Prost is the runner-up, and he goes off. But the champion, Mike Hawthorne, retires in the moment of supreme triumph.
Peter Collins, Enzo Ferrari's all-time favourite driver. John Surtees, another great world champion, the only man to have won a world title on 2 and 4 wheels. Tony Brooks and Derek Bell have also enjoyed spells at the Prancing Horse. But how do the critical Italian press see Mansell?
You know, the Italian fan, the fan for Ferrari, they like everybody if he's fast. Mansell immediately showed to be very, very fast. He broke the record in the Fiorano racetrack, so I'm sure that people will be delighted from him. Especially if we will put a Ferrari in the front row at the first Grand Prix, they will be unbelievable crazy about him.
The English driver have a very good tradition inside Ferrari. Don't forget that the most loved driver of Ferrari was an English one, Collins. And so the English drivers with Ferrari had a lot of success with the Hawthorne, Surtees, and why not Mansell?
For the Italian press, there's nothing quite like the first sight of a new Ferrari, as they jostle and push to get that special picture.
Ancora che facciamo ombra!
On his way is Britain's jet-set star driver, but not the humdrum check-in of an international flight for Nigel. Most of his flying is done in a private jet, just one of the trappings of success.
Probably the biggest pressure I have on my life is the amount of travelling I do. but you just have to allocate a little bit more time to do your job. I have to travel a little bit more, but I'm fortunate now that we can use a private jet. But it doesn't have too many problems, really.
A car ferries him to Maranello, where adulation is the name of the day. Nigel's first outing in the car, with revolutionary new semi-automatic gearbox, was not distinguished.
Basically, you've got two levers on the steering wheel, and the right side is for going up the box, and the left side is for going down. The problem is when you go around the corner, you cross your hands. You have to remember which lever's where, and this can cause a little bit of consternation at times, hence why I spun off on the straight on the first test I did. I got the wrong lever. That's my excuse anyway.
Mansell's greatest moment last year, notwithstanding his fine Silverstone performance, was probably his impressive display at the Australian Open Golf.
Still, as I was saying earlier, Tim, Ed Atlas is feeling very nervous here, and I know just how you and I would be feeling behind the steering wheel of a Formula One, mate.
What would you call that head movement?
Oh, pretty darn good, Pete.
Hey, we better try that, you and I.
And the biggest surprise Nigel has had this year was not the handling of his new red Ferrari, but the handing over of that famous red book.
We've got a Camel Sopwith ready to rush you down to the This Is Your Life studios in Teddington. And we have not a moment to lose. Are you game? He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it.
I'm sorry, I was put up there.
Is this for real? You'll love it.
But now it's down to the hard slog of training for the first race of the year. The last chance to spend time with his family before jetting off to Brazil. Has motor racing once again become his greatest passion?
Being realistic, I feel if we can, and I do feel that we can start to win races this year. I think this year will be a building year for the World Championship, perhaps next year. I'm saying that I don't rule out the possibility, if we find the power we need and the reliability, then we can go for the championship this year.
But what of the other teams? McLaren field the same drivers and the same engine manufacturer as last year. No turbos allowed this year, of course, but testing has given an ominous warning.
I think this year is going to be different because we will have more competitors, as I said, and not only one team. I think Ferrari, Benetton, Williams, March are going to be difficult to beat. And I hope at the end of the championship we get more points.
And I think I will travel to Rio, using the music for flight. There's nothing in Rio.
That's the hardest thing here. It's finish the race. It's very, very difficult to finish the race. And if you can finish the race in good condition, you're not very far from winning.
Whimsical notion to fly down to Rio tonight.
I'm glad to have been around in the turbo era because they were pretty exciting times. But I think this year is going to be an exciting year as well. You're going to see close racing. The spectators are going to be enthused, where I think we lost a lot of spectators last year.
There's wings to the thought behind fancy. There's wings to the thought behind play. And dancing to rhythms of laughter makes laughter the rhythm. So
I would like to start the season in '89 where I finished for the '88. That means really near to the McLaren. And then to have the possibility to fight for 2 or 3 wins in Grand Prix.
To do with the night. It's only a whimsical notion to fly down to Rio tonight. And I probably won't fly down to Rio. But then again, I just might.
Murray Walker joins us now from Rio. Murray, we've just been looking at Britain's Johnny Herbert, who hopes to make his Grand Prix debut in the Benetton lineup. Johnny, of course, survived that horrendous Formula 3000 crash at Brands last year. What exactly is his fitness at the moment?
Well, all the news about Johnny Herbert from Rio, Steve, is good news. The important thing is he's absolutely on the pace. The Benetton Ford is a car that could win on Sunday. And most importantly of all, Johnny Herbert has just done a full race distance for the first time since he had that horrific crash, and he got out of the car looking as fresh as a daisy. So things are looking very bright for him on Sunday.
The accident at Brands was of quite horrendous proportions, wasn't it? He was lucky to survive that at all.
It was a quite dreadful accident, and Johnny subsequently told me that when he looked down, he thought that both his legs had gone, and it's unbelievable that he's made such a superb recovery. But he really is in very good shape for Sunday.
Martin Brundle at Brabham, he returns to Grand Prix racing as the world sports car champion. His confidence must be sky high at the moment.
The Martin Brundle story is just as interesting and encouraging as the Johnny Herbert one. The Brabham is absolutely brand new. They've been out of racing for a year. They've come back with a superb-looking car. It, too, is absolutely on the pace. And in the pre-testing here at Rio, Stefano Modena was third fastest, and Martin Brundle was very little slower. The two of them are absolutely bubbling with enthusiasm about the car. They've both got to pre-qualify on Friday between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I can't see either of them having any problem at all, and I honestly wouldn't be at all surprised to see one or even both of them in the points on Sunday.
The battle in pre-qualifying, Murray, is going to be really intense, isn't it? What kind of extra dimension does this contest for the places on the grid present this season?
Well, Formula One Grand Prix racing is now so popular that there are new teams and new sponsors flocking to take part. And the result of that is that although there are 26 cars and drivers permitted to start the Brazilian Grand Prix on Sunday, there are 39 cars and drivers here. And as a result of that, 13 of those drivers are going to have to try to pre-qualify on Friday between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And from those 13 cars, only 4 will be able to go forward to join the 26 who are guaranteed places in the practice. So the pre-qualifying is going to be just as interesting and exciting as the race itself, possibly more so.
And of course, qualifying tyres re-enter the equation as well, don't they?
Indeed they do. The qualifying times are absolutely essential. The interesting thing about the testing that we've had is that the people who are fastest in testing, that's to say Nigel Mansell and Gerhard Berger, are some 6.5 seconds inside Gerhard Berger's 1988 lap record. Grand Prix racing this year is going to be much faster, in spite of the fact that the turbos are now finished.
One other British driver we must mention, Martin Donnelly, who stands by to make his Grand Prix debut at Lotus if Nelson Piquet doesn't make it. Surely Nelson isn't going to miss this round of all the rounds.
I wouldn't think so, Steve. I checked on this point particularly just before I left the circuit to come to the studio here. I talked with the Lotus people. Nelson hasn't actually been up to the circuit yet, but they tell me that his ribs are in pretty good shape, and it seemed to be virtually certain that Nelson Piquet will be starting on Sunday, and that Martin Donnelly will not get his first Grand Prix drive.
But from what you've seen in Rio this week and of pre-season testing, do you think we're going to have the same kind of McLaren domination as last season?
Well, with no disrespect to McLaren, I hope it's not going to be like last year when they won 15 out of 16 races, and I honestly don't think it is, because the fact that the turbos aren't there anymore means to say that all the teams are going to be on roughly equal power. The McLaren here isn't going as well as they hoped it would do. It hasn't dominated straight out of the box like it did last year. And if I had to put my reputation at risk here and now, which I'm going to do, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see either Alessandro Nannini or Ivan Capelli win their first Grand Prix on Sunday, because in the Benetton and the March, respectively, they are in 1988 cars. They've both been doing an enormous amount of testing here, and they've been utterly reliable. And reliability is going to be the name of the game on Sunday.
Murray, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the race and enjoy the season. I'm sure you will.
I will, Steve. Thank you.